So what's up, guys? I wanted to give you a quick rundown of installing LEDs, ambient lighting, into a Hyundai Elantra. It seems that the Hyundai Elantra has become a really popular car and is only getting more popular. This is a 2012 GLS limited edition. I have the nav package in here. So what I wanted to do was hardwire the ambient lights directly into the car. The best place I found was this plate right here. There's sort of an auxiliary panel on the side of the steering wheel. There was a blank plate in here that I'll show you in a minute. The best way to reach it is up under the fuse box. So I pulled out the fuse box cover, reached up underneath, and you have these two tabs on this plate. And what I did was bought this rocker switch at a regular automotive store, blue LEDs to match the interior, and cut out a hole to fit it. It fits right in. Once this is wired up, it'll go back in the dash and look nice and neat and clean. These are the other materials I got. The LEDs I'm going to use is a 4-inch version of these flex LEDs. And if you ever see these out in, I got these at Advanced Auto Parts. What's pretty cool about these is in the packaging they have a test button here that lets you actually test the color. And see how bright they are. So what I did was I bought the 4-inch version, took it apart, kept the wires together, and I placed them in the door pockets to sort of test how bright they were, where I wanted them, kind of played with the lighting. I'm actually going to do 5 LEDs throughout the car, 2 4-inch strip lights, and 3 surface mount LEDs that I got from onzium.com. I don't have those on the table yet. They're not due in for another day, but I'm going to get everything pre-wired as I go. So what you'll need is tie wraps, end connectors that will go directly onto the rocker panel just to keep it neat. Butt connectors. These are heat shrink kind, so I can extend the wires. The wires that come on the LEDs are only a couple feet long, so you'll need to get more 18 gauge wire, which is what I got here. You can get 16 too. I got 18. It's rated for it. It's fine. I also bought junction boxes. They have these on onzium.com, which I think is awesome. You just put your lead in, you lift these tabs up, you put your lead wire in or your hot wire, and then everything else that you want to run off it comes off of that like a junction. You clip these orange tabs back down. It negates the need for soldering or anything like that. These serve the same purpose, except once the wire's connected, it's not coming out. But these also help keep things neat and clean. I'm going to hardwire mine directly into the fuse box, so I bought a bus fuse. This is just a 10 amp fuse. It allows you to hardwire directly in and have a fuse to block all your lights, which is incredibly important for LEDs or anything you hook up in your car. Some wire strippers, extra fuses, and a soldering iron in case I need it, but with all of these things I'm probably not going to need it at all. So to talk about the Elantra real quick, the way I've done this, I'm going to put the, if you see the door panel here, I'm actually going to put the LEDs on this back part right here where they're hidden, so you won't see any light at all. You'll just see glow from light, and that's kind of what I want to do all the way throughout the car. The next place I'm putting them is in the door pocket here. I'm sorry, the console pocket. If for anyone knows the Elantra interior, it's actually really cool. So I have a surface mount LED that I'm putting right here facing towards the front of the car that kind of lights up the console. It goes up, and I'm going to do that on both sides since both sides have that pocket. The last place I'm going to put it is in the center console, this back cup that's behind the cup holders. I'm going to have it facing outwards like that. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably nervous about messing with a brand new car. This is a 2012. I've only had it for about 2 weeks. So I don't want to go pulling a lot of panels off and possibly break a clip or have it be loose forever. Stuff like that drives me nuts. So if you lift up the armrest, what I found, you just pull up the armrest. There's a clip here that's hollow. I just took a wire, regular coat hanger wire actually, pushed it down through the little slot here. And I would recommend pushing it towards the passenger side, because on the driver's side you have the e-brake with the springs and everything. You don't want to mess anything up inside of there. And I actually came right out the bottom. You can see it a little bit coming out there. So I'm going to use that. What I'll do is drill a hole on the end here, put my surface mount LED facing out, tap the wire underneath, pull it through, and then use this to drag it down, do my butt joint down there, and then run the wire all the way up and underneath the dash. To pass wires through, once I get everything wired in the fuse box, you'll see with the auxiliary, what I'm going to do is pass it under the pedals. If you look way up underneath, there's a very small, well, it's not very small, it's a couple inches, but it actually is a pass-through that goes all the way through to the other side. Perfect place to hide all your junction boxes and all the wires that need to go. The ground for this is like in most cars, if you don't even have to remove the kick panel. If you just look up underneath, you can see the ground right there, all ready for you. I'm just going to pull that off and put the ground from there to my switch and then out to all my lights. So we'll show you what it looks like in a little bit. So again, just to show you what I did, it's still daylight, so these are the 4-strip LEDs. I didn't mount them, they're sticky back. I haven't mounted them yet. I will when it gets dark out. I think one of the most important things when doing ambient lighting anywhere, but even in your car, is to position it in the right spot before you just go and stick it somewhere or put it somewhere. It's got to make sense. So I actually dry fit all of these a couple nights ago, and I liked where it was. So there's one inside the door here facing outward, and what I did was, if you can see, I'm not sure if you can actually get down in there and see, but as I mentioned, I didn't want to remove any of the panels because I don't know much about it. I don't want to break a clip or anything. So what I did was I heated up a drill bit and used a pair of pliers, and I just melted a hole right through the back side of this because there's no way to get a drill in this tight spot. And then I took a coat hanger, tied the wire off on one end, stuck it down, and it actually came right out the bottom of the door panel. I took a piece of plastic, slid it up underneath here, ran it along the edge, stuck the wire in as I went, brought it up, ran it across. So this is now the only exposed wire in the car, and I'm not done yet. I'll tie this in better later. And I went up underneath the dash, around, same thing. These side panels here on the side console, they don't need to come out at all. I heated up a drill bit, pushed it in here going this way, so I have these little tiny LED lights right here. They're self-stick, smaller than a dime. Ran the wire down through with a coat hanger, pulled it out, sent it up through the center console. I did the same thing all the way back as I mentioned, and I put a small LED there to kind of show you what it looks like. I know it's daylight. I'll turn on the clip real fast. So again, you can see why I want to wait till it's night before I position these. Put them in a good spot. You don't want it shining up, I don't think, and being able to see it, that's the biggest thing, is you don't want to see the light, you want to just see the glow. Same thing with the one in the door, kind of got that nice blue glow going, and again, it's going to look a lot different at night. The one in the center console, you won't see that when you're a driver. You're sitting here like this. The only way you actually see the bulb is if you're in front, which will never happen. So I did the same thing on the other side, ran all the wires up through under the console like I mentioned, coming out, ran them behind the gas pedal, behind the brake pedal so they don't interfere with anything, up around the wiring harness that's under there. There's a couple of them actually, just pick one, just run the wires on top of it, sort of for leverage. Ran it up through the dash, hardwired the fuse directly in. This is where the fuse is butted in. As I mentioned, add a fuse is probably the best way to go. Put a switch in, pop that piece out, wired it all in, grounded everything. This is now my auxiliary switch, and that just will snap back in there once I'm ready. I got some more work to do, but that snaps back in, and then I have an in-dash button now. So it's nice and clean, no wires, and just ambient LED lights. I'll show you what it looks like at night pretty soon.